Hey, welcome to the continuing winemaking series here at Wine of the Month. But boy, what an honor! We traveled down to La Jolla, California today to meet with Michel Negrier of the Lafite Rothschild. What's the whole parent company?
DBR Lafite, Domaine Baron Rothschild Lafite.
Wow! And
It's
so that includes we're going to taste the South American offerings
yes,
today, but it also includes the Bordeaux
yes.
offerings.
It started with Bordeaux. Actually, the group started in 1868 when
Wow!
the Rothschild family bought Chateau Lafite, and then 100 years later,
Yes,
they bought other properties in Bordeaux, Duarmilon, Château l'Évangile in Pomerol, and Rieux-Sec in Sauternes, and they and then they decided to go to South America in 1988.
wow!
And we have now different wine from different places in the world because we also partner with Catena to create Bodegas Caro.
A Caro, which I
Yes,
love.
in 1990. And those two wineries are now well established and very well known in South America.
In South America.
Yeah.
Well, I was very excited to know you were coming because we get to taste these wines. But I brought you this small bulletin from 1991, where my father and I featured the 1988 Los Vascos. And if I remember, that they bought it in '87. This was actually the first bottling under their
Yes.
management.
What I know is that it took them almost 3 years to decide which winery to
Oh,
buy.
I see. Yes.
They visited many wineries in South America, and they decided to buy Los Vascos because they really were astonished by the place. Have you been there?
No,
No. It's astonishing. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's one single vineyard, 4,000 hectares.
wow,
And
wow.
now, at that time, there was all 300 hectare planted, and now we have close to 700 hectare planted.
That's amazing.
It's 85% Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's in Colchagua Valley, south from Santiago, 2 hours drive. It's a place where people the ancestor were people from the Basque country called
Wow.
Los Vascos means
How
Les
did they end
Basques.
up
Les
in
Basques.
Chile?
Actually, they emigrated from this area. They were people doing winemakers,
Yes.
established in South America, discovered Colchagua Valley, and
Amazing.
started a winery.
That's
and they
amazing.
put their name, Los Vascos, Les
Yes.
Basques. And actually, when DBR decided to buy, they kept the name because it was very. Why not? Why change the
For
history?
sure,
They,
for
they
sure.
had- they had a very beautiful place.
I'm sure the local people appreciated the fact that you kept the brand and everything.
Yes.
So this is your 30th year as a Los Vascos.
Yes, actually, it's we are celebrating this year and next year the 30 years anniversary of this winery.
So what I wrote in this newsletter at the time was it was very Bordeaux-like for a wine from Chile because the Chilean wines are so distinctively different when it comes to the green olives and the green peppers. And something happened when you vinted this wine that brought the French techniques to the French. How did that happen?
Honestly, for Cabernet Sauvignon in Chile, the Cabernet Sauvignon is very expressive, very aromatic,
Yes.
and actually doesn't need absolutely to have any French technique to improve the pure Cabernet Sauvignon. What we have done is to work on the réserve or the Grande Cuvée or le 10 because we are bringing the art of blending. We are using different grapes, and we also using our own barrel from our own
Your own
cooperage.
cooperage.
So this is what probably Domaine Rothschild is bringing to the winery, this sort of excellence into the cuvée, on the cuvée level. But the quality of the soil and it's already there.
So this is the reserve, and so how is this treated compared to is the Grand Reserve compared to there's
Yes.
a main Cabernet.
It's aged 1 year in 50% new oak barrel from the cooperage of Domaine Rothschild. and 50% in
Neutral.
neutral. And we have it's a blend of mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, and we have three other grapes, a bit of Malbec, a bit of Syrah, and a bit of Carmenère. So
Carmenère.
yes, so you have, I would say, more than 75%, 80% Cabernet Sauvignon,
Right.
and the rest is the blend of three other grapes to create this.
That's an interesting question because Carmenère was it not in Bordeaux, and did they not think it was Merlot for many years until they did the DNA test? Is it still grown in Bordeaux? Is it accepted in Bordeaux or not?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, it's
Not
more
a-
now flourishing,
Close.
flourishing in Chile.
Yeah, in Chile.
But the
Great.
origin was from France.
Yes.
Yes.
I understood it was confused to be with as Merlot, but maybe not.
No, Carmenère, I think, is doing well in Chile because of the expression is very peppery.
Yes.
There's a sort of a bit of spiciness in it, and when you add it in the blend, you create more complexity, and this is what I think has in this.
This is very
division.
soft. It's very soft, and this is a 14. But I remember this wine, and this is definitely a softer version. But I get a sense of the Bordeaux character in this wine and the Cabernet. I'm not getting that green olive, green pepper that I often get from wines from Chile.
No.
So
One of the reasons also you don't get anymore this green pepper that was probably in the past is that we have put really more attention into how we harvest the grape at the perfect maturity. It's true that when you do more attention to harvest exactly when the moment of the grape is perfectly ripe, you avoid this green pepper.
that's
thing.
what happens. Okay, that's good. That's interesting to know because I see a lot of it. I mean, we taste a lot of Chilean wines,
Yes,
and we
and
get a
so-
lot of this.
yes.
Sometimes
So-
it's so strong you can't drink.
Yes.
And that's from the ripeness.
This is what we try to avoid because we know that our Cabernet Sauvignon is very expressive, and this is a good example of what we can do well when you do you look at all the details, barrel, taking the grape at the right moment. A lot of it is harvested by hand also, and so it's
So 700 hectares under vine, 4,000 total hectares.
yes, but the
That's
4,000 hectares are like farms. You have
So-
you have cattle,
Right,
you have
yes.
wheat, you have.
But that's good for the farm. That's good for the grapes, right? What should we try next? The Saro or the Amancaya or the Lebanese?
I would. Which one do you have after
The
that?
Amancaya,
Yeah,
Caro.
I would go with Amancaya.
Okay. So tell me about your personal history in the wine sector. Is this something that you've always had passion for?
Yeah, actually, I put first foot in the wine when I was in a spirit company
Oh.
called Grand Marnier, Marnier
well,
l'Apostole,
yes.
because they are the owner of Casa l'Apostole. Maybe you know
Yes,
Casa
I
l'Apostole.
know it well, yes.
And they own Château de Sancerre. So already when I was in charge of the Grand Marnier in Europe sales, I was starting to sell wine and know about wine. So
Oh, that's great.
I discovered Casa l'Apostole and Château de Sancerre. And then I was offered this job as export director for Château Lafite and the rest of the portfolio. And I've been there now for 11 years.
Wow.
And the more you know, the more you learn. The
Yes,
more you
right,
learn,
that's
the more
right.
you know.
That's a fascinating subject anyway, wine, and I love hearing from your side of it.
Okay, now we are tasting
Okay, so this is the Amancaya?
the wine Amancaya.
Which we have in our shop.
It's a second label of Bodegas Caro. So Bodegas
Oh, okay.
Caro is a joint venture between the family Catena and Rothschild. The CA is Catena, RO is Rothschild, so Bodegas Caro. So the icon wine is Caro, and the second label Amancaya. Amancaya is the Indian name of the flowers you can find on the label
Oh, I see. Yes.
here,
Mhm.
and it's a red blend. We call it because it's a blend between Malbec and Cabernet Sauvignon. We have
I
majority
get
of
this
is
Malbec.
Malbec,
Mm-hmm.
but Cabernet Sauvignon brings, I would say, the complexity and also the power and the density of the wine. And Malbec brings all the fruit elements and
I'm getting the
aroma.
Malbec in the nose, and then certainly in the palate, the leanness and the pepperiness. Now, I'm going to ask you a question about the farming techniques. I've had Monsieur Pierre Incenza from the Sassicaia family, who's now growing Pinot Noir in Patagonia, in Argentina, and he's gone 100% biodynamique. And is there any movement in South America for on the Bordeaux varietals for that kind of thing, or we're not doing that yet?
I would say already at Los Vascos we have 40% of the plots are organic.
Organic.
Not 100%, but already 40%. And it's the same with the vineyards we have with Catena. We have a very low pesticide. We try to do as little as possible to use any elements that are not natural.
Yes.
But it's not organic. It's getting
Yeah, it's pretty close to organic.
we are trying to
Yes.
slow down everything that is possible to, because actually the climate in South America, especially in Argentina, is helping us. It's very dry during the day and very cold at night because it's in the mountains. So it's true that the disease that you can find sometimes
mold,
in Europe
You're,
are less.
yeah.
So you don't need to use as much chemicals as you may have used in other part of the world.
So do you think it's a general movement? I mean, is there? I think
it's a general trend to use as the
little
minimum.
possible.
But
Because the public
but
wants
to,
this?
to cut it 100%, you take a very big risk.
Yeah.
Because when you become organic, it's a process, you know.
Right.
So it's
You gotta learn how to do it.
and it's easier to do when you have a small winery,
Yes.
because you can control all the parameters. When it's a large winery, it's more difficult to master all the parameters. So you do it slowly and step by step. But the trend, I think, in the wine industry is to try to reduce that, because we want the product to still to
as
have
natural
this quality, but to be as natural as possible.
Because I don't know if the consumer is trying to motivate the wineries to do that. I don't see a lot of customers asking necessarily if things are things. I think they're interesting. I think the
They are
wines
interested. It's a long process. Within 5-10 years, it will be more and more important. So you have to prepare.
They keep preparing.
You have to prepare.
So you peel off a little bit of the vineyard at a time and continue to cultivate it. Because biodynamics is another level that
Yes.
fascinates me, and I'm not so sure the Bordeaux varietals care that much, but certainly Pinot Noir does, and some other.
There are some very well-known labels in Bordeaux doing biodynamics.
Are they really? Wow.
But when the vintage is difficult, they suffer because they lose
Yes.
a lot of production.
Right. 'Cause the yield goes down. Everything
Yes.
goes down. So this is the Caro. So this is the parent wine of the Amancaya.
So Caro is the icon wine. So you have
The nose is amazing.
it's 18 months
Really?
in New Oak from Lafite.
From the-
You can tell.
Yes, it's there. And the cuvee is the same. No?
Cuvée, no, you have almost 80%, 75% Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend. More Cabernet Sauvignon than Malbec. And in Argentinian wine, people tend to understand that quality-wise, when you have in the blend Cabernet Sauvignon of high quality, the whole wine is very interesting because
Yes.
it has more complexity.
Yes. And this is the weight. Both these wines have a great weight on the tongue. And it must be from the Cabernet mostly. And this has Carmenere as well.
No, only
Just Malbec.
it's only Malbec and Cabernet Sauvignon.
I don't sense the Malbec in the nose as much as I do the Cab, but it's certainly in the palate. It's really
What you can
Special.
immediately sense is the barrel.
Where are the cooperages for Lafite? Are they in Portugal, or are they in Spain, or is it in France?
So we have only one corporate producing barrel. It's next to Château Lafite, between Château Lafite and Duarmilon.
Oh,
It's
really?
around 5 minutes walk
Oh, wow.
from Château Lafite. We produce 2,500 barrels. Half are used by our Bordeaux estates, and half by Los Vascos, by Caro.
Oh, so you ship them that
We
way.
ship there. And also we have a property in Languedoc called Château d'Aussière. They also are using it. And next year we may be able to taste together
That's
a
amazing.
wine from China. Because we have a
You invested in China?
We have a China winery.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
what are they growing there? Are they growing
So,
the regular varietals or Chinese varietals?
There is Cabernet Sauvignon, of course, and we have some Marcelin. We have some local grapes also.
That's
and
fascinating.
We are doing very interesting.
Absolutely fascinating because terroir, I mean, it's all new.
The terroir is interesting, but it's not easy because it's a bit rainy and the winter are rather cold. So
Yeah.
we have to work
You
harder.
have to work. You have to work
Work
at it.
harder.
That's amazing. And you think that the Chinese market, which is one of the conversations I was going to have, is they're ready for. I was supposed they're actually excited to have Lafite in town to make wines.
Yeah, Chinese have a high respect on the Lafite brand, and so we have been working on the project to have the winery producing our own wine in China, and not to disappoint anybody. We want to be ready. So it has been already. It's a project that started almost 9 years ago,
Well,
and
really?
we still
Well,
have
it's been
not
long.
released the wine.
Well, I suppose the learning curve is very high on that
Yes,
project
yes,
like that. So, are there other French Bordeaux makers or even Burgundy makers? That are
Yes, yes,
Wow,
there are.
that's amazing.
Yes, yes.
Because everybody's talking about the Chinese consumer, which is they're learning about wine. And,
Very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
And are they respecting the fact that it's French, or
In China, you have different level of knowledge. You have people that have been educated with wine, and they travel and they go to London or Paris or Los Angeles, and they have a very good education about wine.
well,
Okay, that's, I would say, the elite. And then you have people understanding wine as a lifestyle, and they discover. And then you have the general population starting to know. So different level of knowledge. So
yes,
uh, you can sell very fine wine to people that know very well, and some other that needs to learn. And the WSET, the school where you take lessons about wine, is the number one schools are in China today.
that's so interesting.
Yes.
Wow, that's very interesting. I'm glad because we can more wine to sell that way, right? You
Yes.
can sell more wine, but I'm sure with the elite group of wine drinkers in China, because I had a friend who used to build things in China. He said they would take it and they would mix it with Coca-Cola. So
In the past, it was true. In the past, it
Oh,
was
you
true.
are, okay.
It was true.
Tell us about the Ledis.
So Ledis is the top label, top cuvée of Los Vascos. The name Ledis means 10, and why? Because 10 years after the purchase of the winery, the team decided to release the cuvée as a sort of celebrating 10 years. So
great.
they took the best grape from the best area, a little hill called Il Fraile, the best Cabernet Sauvignon. And they aged in a barrel from Lafite. And for them, the idea was to create the icon of Los Vascos. And that became a brand because every year we have been releasing the 10 as a sort of
Not
signature.
the 11
the
and the
signature.
12 and the 13.
No, no.
Okay.
Le 10.
It's very good and very soft and
Yes.
decidedly different than the other wines.
Yes.
So it's Cabernet and what else?
So it's 85% Cabernet and just a little bit of Syrah
Syrah. Wow, it's interesting.
and a bit of Carmenère.
The nose, the balance, the whole thing is great. Do we have this here? Christophe, do we have it in LA? How come I don't have it? All right, we'll get it. We'll get
I
it.
hope you will have. This is good, huh?
We'll get it. Yeah,
It's good.
it's excellent, and I'm excited about it because I think my customers are going to like this.
This is, if you look at Caro or Le 10, this is our two expressions. This is, I would say, a bit more masculine, more powerful
Yes,
expression,
for sure.
more peppery.
It's interesting that they're putting Syrah. You would never, obviously, you can't do that in Bordeaux, but that the winemaking techniques in Chile allow you to do that.
Yes.
You can call it Cabernet in America still at 75%.
As long as you have less than
25%.
25%,
Yeah,
you
so
can keep it
you're-
Cabernet Sauvignon.
You get to experiment with things you can't do in France, right? You get to try these interesting blends.
The art of blending.
Yes,
This
of
is
course,
where we are
yes.
strong, I
Right.
think.
Excellent. Well, I'm very excited to have you here. This is going to be a very interesting pairing because you brought these South American wines and you're going to pair them with Mexican food, basically, here in Southern California. It's great having you here, Michel, and I
Thank
hope
you.
to see you again.
Thank you
When
very
come
much.
to Los Angeles, we can
It's a,
come to my studio and continue.
when you start with those wines, and you will see they are very nice to drink, then you want to taste the wine from Bordeaux.
Yeah, that's it. We
As
love
the
it.
next
We'll be back. We're coming back to Bordeaux.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.